He is the first dictatorial tyrant of a reborn civilization. Only 30 years old. He has 131 beautiful wives. However, this notorious hero is now in the twilight of his life. The lifespan of the Gun clan is at most 40 years. Watching everything from above, I couldn't help but sigh. Indeed, they are unaware of the place. He has no knowledge of these. This legendary king thought himself splendid and long-lived. Yet in my eyes, his life was but a fleeting moment. I recalled the scene when I first met him. At that time, the Gun clan was on the verge of extinction in my creation sandbox. I didn't want to see the first civilization I created be destroyed like this. So, I entered the sandbox. I held a young bug monkey in my palm, calmly asking him with my eyes, Gilgamesh, do you want to change everything? This young bug monkey suddenly trembled and screamed loudly in my palm. You can actually communicate. There is a wise being in this world. Why do you call me Gilgamesh? I held him and placed him flat before me, saying that a name reflects one's wisdom. Gilgamesh stood in my palm, gazing at my vast, crystal clear pupils comparable to the sun and moon. Suddenly, he gasped. We can communicate. We're all wise beings. Why not you? You are clearly so powerful. So great. The others do not know what I am. They only think I am a wise being similar to giant beasts. I also have no intention to explain anything. I held Gilgamesh in my palm, walking through the mountains and rivers. Many trees and creatures were trampled. I made this weak bug monkey look down at the entire world. A loud voice resonated across the sky. Look, in this world, every species is equal. You and every kind of plant and animal are the same. Why should I be generous? Is it just because you possess wisdom? Gilgamesh was suddenly at a loss for words. Suddenly, he began to shout in despair. Then why did you come looking for me? I looked at him calmly. No one can save you, and do not wish for anyone to rescue you. Only you can save yourself. But I can provide you with the means of civilization, so you can save yourselves. Gilgamesh stood in my palm. A thought of delusion. The wind blew gently. This was his first time surveying the vast landscape from the clouds. Mountains and rivers were right beneath his eyelids. Countless creatures fled and roared beneath the wise giant's feet, creating a stunningly overwhelming scene. What a splendid and fantastical view from the heights. What a terrifying yet longing great movie this is. So, he trembled and spoke. What is civilization? I never thought I would need to explain to this newly born species what it means. So I thought about it, and stated my answer. Civilization is diversity. It is knowledge, it is order. It is the powerful force of wisdom used to protect oneself. Force, Gilgamesh became somewhat dazed. After I placed him on my shoulder, I returned to the Great Canyon. Then I planted a miniature welcoming pine bought from a bargain store in the soil. This is a welcoming pine only 1 centimeter tall, but for this miniature land, it was a towering, endless divine tree. Looking up, clouds and mist intertwined. The huge winding tree seemed to have no end. Seeing this tree that I just planted, to gain the power of civilization, show your courage. This is my test of your wisdom and courage. Saying this, I placed a custom metal giant sword and a matchstick soaked in oil on the tree. Still on the tree. After thinking, I placed a capsule containing termite genes at the top of the tree. This is a byproduct of my previous experiment in creating the heavy original race. A resounding voice echoed in Gilgamesh's heart again. 12 transformations. These are the 3 essential protections of civilization. First, the sword of Damocles. It's the weapon that protects civilization and the barbarism that spreads across the land. Species that can harness the power of tools can truly be called wise. Second, the torch burns with a fierce fire. It is the bridge that sustains civilization. Mastering fire is the enlightenment of civilization. Third, the permission of power. Only the bravest warriors in the world can bear it. Endure. The blood of power draws. You will possess unparalleled strength. If you can't endure, you will perish. If you want to change the fate of your main tribe, then climb the divine tree before the torch extinguishes, to acquire the 3 treasures of civilization. After saying this, I gently placed the little bug monkey on the ground. And then, amidst its shock, I stepped away from the mountains and rivers. The moment I walked out of the orchard, I immediately sped up the flow of the sand table by 100 times. This means the match will only burn for a few seconds. For the creatures in the sand table, it will burn for several days. Then, I saw clearly through the telescope the flowers under the divine tree. The young Gilgamesh food, resolutely climbing the divine tree. In my eyes, the actions of this little bug monkey on the tree were quick to leave only after images. In just a few seconds, it fell countless times. Then it climbed up again with great effort. At a moment of a little over a second, it finally successfully climbed to the top of the divine tree. But in reality, for the Gilgamesh food in the sand table, it can't remember how long it has been climbing, or how many times it has failed. At the peak of the divine tree, standing on the lush green sliding cover, Gilgamesh raised the sword high, as if saying something. Then it quickly turned into an afterimage. I was a bit curious, so I used my creative ability to recreate the dialogue at the top of the divine technique. Gilgamesh conquered the divine technique. The high knife raised the sword of Damocles, and waved it over his head. He looked down at the scenery of the beings under the divine tree. The armor on his back shone black. His resolute face was filled with wisdom as well. In the future, we will not be inferior to wise beasts. Every tribal member possesses a magnificent spirit, with the might to make countless beasts flee. I must lead my people to stand on the shores of glory. The famous fire seeds will be scattered across the land, at the top of the ancient era's divine technique. This moment is recorded as eternal. In 10,000 years, there once existed on this land the most ancient Sumerian king, flourishing and transient. People discovered from archaeology the Sumerian historical hymn they wrote for great kings. This oldest document, the genesis of the Sumerian ancient history. Wisdom beasts rise high, 1,000 feet tall, prizing sacredness, treading down from the mountains and rivers of the earth, descending to the divine tree, establishing a wise career, and delivering the 3 famous treasures to the young hero king Gilgamesh. When I woke up the next morning, the sand table in the orchard The world had already gone through a long 100 years. For heavy members with an average lifespan of 40 to 50 years, they have passed down through 2 generations of reproduction. I somewhat look forward to reuniting after 2 generations in youthful innocence. Handed down the famous torch of Gilgamesh cuisine. He has already died. The answer is no. He surprised me greatly. In the 10 years after I left, Gilgamesh cuisine led the survivors to continue fleeing. He was amazed that the world has such miraculous things. Fire can cook food. It can drive away giant beasts at night. It can provide warmth on cold nights. No wonder the wise giant beast said fire represents civilization. And that, between Damocles, is an invincible weapon in this primeval giant forest. Gilgamesh cuisine used sharp weapons to slay countless beasts similar to Alar. He helped his tribe survive and yet have the strength to resist. In the second decade, Gilgamesh cuisine grew out of youth. Into his 30s, he became magnificent and tall, becoming the strongest hunter of the repeated original clan. While being called the hero king by the people of the tribe, he even used fire to burn the land, enriching the soil, thus beginning to cultivate a rudimentary farming life. He was arrogant, proud and unruly, the only one reared. The wise giant beast handed over the 3 treasures of civilization to him, and he knew clearly that civilization is the remnants of knowledge and history. So he boldly created cuneiform to record the history of the race, thereby innovating language. He believed he was the first to open the world of civilization, and thus recorded his history of creating civilization in books for commendation. Arrogantly named at the creation of the world, he was tyrannical yet possessed great charisma. He had 103 in the tribe, but a beautiful wife bore him children later. These offspring were mostly strong and capable, inheriting his robust demeanor. But the average lifespan of the survivors was only 30 to 40 years. At this time, Gilgamesh had already entered his 30s. Wielding the sword of Damocles back then, the rugged and bold hero king had now welcomed his old age. Now, in the treehouse made of wood, the flames in the fireplace burned brightly, emitting heat. Gilgamesh calmly sat in a soft chair woven from Alar fur, gazing at the flames and murmuring to himself, "That is the flame of civilization gifted to me by the wise giant beast. It is so beautiful and magnificent, as if dancing red flower stamens." Gilgamesh, his entire tall and robust figure had grown old and feeble. He turned to look at the giant beasts hung on the wall. These are the remains of various giant beasts on this land. Savage or fierce. The numerous once invincible savage giants have been conquered by him one by one. The entire wall seems to record the glorious battles of his life. He lived a sufficiently glorious life. Sufficiently splendid. He fulfilled the dreams of his youth, and he was satisfied. The next leader of the tribe has been determined to be my son. Even if this Aga, his abilities are not inferior to mine, to lead the entire tribe to face the giants and continue the glory. Gilgamesh felt that his life was gradually approaching its end. Death is inevitable for living beings. He had almost resigned himself to it. Then, he silently took out the blood of strength from back then and sighed. Now there are no more worries. The wise giant beast said that only the bravest warrior in the world can hold up the 3rd treasure of civilization. Am I truly the bravest warrior in the world? Let me take a look. The twilight of the hero Gilgamesh. His eyes, his face slightly startled. In a daze, he recalled his glorious years. He suddenly shed tears, silently pierced his own arm, poured the blood of strength into his wound. An overwhelming sharp pain surged in Gilgamesh's cuisine. Struggled twice. This aging hero fell to the ground. He experienced countless battles in his life, yet never breathed so painfully. In the end, he survived death. Slowly stood up. His long hair has faded away, now pure white. His perfect face resembled an angel. This strength is within the treehouse. A sturdy, white-haired young man murmured to himself. The message of strength. What a magnificent force this is. At this moment, Gilgamesh could clearly feel the endless power surging within him. Meanwhile, in the tribe, Gilgamesh's son, Ishizi Aga, stood high. He raised the sword of Damocles high. And as the artist, under the brilliant Aga, the leader, combined talent and virtue. Compared to his abusive father, he resembled a kind and gentle leader. Gilgamesh also understood that this son wished to handle his situation, but everything is different now. A kind and beloved Aga of the moment, even with great respect for his father, never thought of taking his father's place. But Gilgamesh still would not allow anything dangerous to exist. I have returned. The leader is still mine today. Blood spilled. The wailing echoed in the Sumer tribe. Hero King Gilgamesh's heir reclaims the leader's position. Nation versus Segon.